Hey, welcome back to Transgender Talk Time. For my new friends that are joining me, my name is Ashley, and I am a 40-year-old non-gender conforming individual. This is my online journal where I typically talked about my transition as well as things that I would deal with from day to day. However, this week's video is actually going to be talking about my journey with sobriety. So if this sounds like something that you're interested in, let's go ahead and pull up a chair so we can catch up.
My name is Marilyn Manson, I'm a drug addict.
My name is Ashley, I'm an alcoholic. My sobriety date is March 9th, 2022. I'm a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. I do have a home group and I do have a sponsor. Today, I'm actually celebrating 1,000 days of continuous sobriety. And this week's video is actually going to be not necessarily about how alcoholism manifested or whatnot. I'm going to talk briefly about my story, but I want to talk more about how I've managed to make it to day 1,000. All right, so as a throwback to the original addiction series videos that I did back in the episodes 20-ish area, I started out by giving the definition of an addiction. And obviously, since we're talking about alcoholism, the addiction is going to be alcohol. So, alcoholism is a noun. It is defined as, per Google, an addiction to the consumption of alcoholic liquor or the mental illness and compulsive behavior resulting from alcoholic dependency. So I told you guys I'm not going to focus a lot on my story so much in regards of like what happened, but I will just briefly touch on how it manifested. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Like many alcoholics, when I first started drinking, it was all about having fun, being sociable, and whatnot. Obviously, as time went on, that became more and more frequent. It became the norm. It literally parties, hanging out, cookouts, birthdays, after work, on my lunch break, whatever, whenever, you know. And after a while, it got to the point where it was like everything that I did seemed to be surrounded with alcohol or surrounding alcohol, or, you know, it became everything. I've had 0 DUIs, fortunately. I've had a public intoxication arrest, which luckily, I suppose, was dismissed. I've had other arrests resulting from drinking that I wasn't necessarily so fortunate for them to have them dismissed. I have had to pay the repercussions of my actions while drinking, in that sense. Just a run-of-the-mill everyday drunk, just like anybody else that you can run into in a typical AA room. You know, nothing in my story is specifically unique, and it is what it is, and it took what it took for me to get to where I finally had to surrender. How did I stop drinking this time? Man, I've had low bottoms. The low bottom that really stands out really was in 2009. I had an extremely bad accident where I was struck by a vehicle that drove away, and another vehicle struck me and dragged me 600 feet underneath of the vehicle. I had 17 broken bones, 3rd and 4th degree burns, teeth knocked out, really, really bad. And obviously that was completely avoidable if I wouldn't have been drinking that night. I was not a driver, I was actually a pedestrian that evening. However, that isn't when I actually quit drinking, as I noted my sobriety date being March 9th of 2022. This time when I quit drinking, I actually quit on what we refer to in AA, or Alcoholics Anonymous, as a high bottom. While a high bottom still hurts and is painful, it's nothing in the physical sense of what I dealt with my low bottom. Literally, I was just sick and tired of feeling sick and tired. March 9th, let's just go back to it. I literally just finished certifying 2 friends of mine, Dave and Christina. for scuba. For those of you that don't already know this, I'm a scuba instructor. So that was what I was doing for work for nearly 4.5 years while living in the Florida Keys. Key Largo specifically. I met them as their dive instructor. We developed a friendship. Anyway, so the day I finished their certification, we went to a local restaurant / bar called Sharky's. Cue the picture right over here. Fantastic food, great people. The owners are good people. So if you're ever in there, just stop in and say hi, get a bite to eat, and enjoy your time in Key Largo. Anyway, so we finished their certification up and we went to Sharky's, had a couple drinks, and for the first time ever, I walked away from a table leaving my beer half full. And the alcoholic that I am, I was the type of drinker where I would finish my drink, and if you didn't finish yours, I was going to finish it for you, you know? So that's just how I drank. So it was really uncharacteristic of me back then. I went home. I had a coworker named Oscar that lived 2.5, maybe 3 blocks from my house. So I walked down the street, and as I was walking down the street, I was thinking to myself, you know, I should really stop drinking for a little while. Let's take a break. Immediately upon entering his home, he was like, hey, Mountain Dew just released their hard seltzers. Would you like to try one? Because we had literally been talking about like, hey, let's go ahead and try them. I actually said no. So again, very uncharacteristic. I let him know that I was going to be taking some time off from drinking, and then that was that. Yeah, so it was just a really weird scenario. Like I literally walked away from a drink and something just clicked. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I wanted to feel different inside, instead of always hurting and then trying to find a way to numb myself. When did I admit I was an alcoholic? Going back again into the beginning of the addiction series in episode 24, I talked about my journey into early sobriety. And when I was doing the research and reflection for that video was when it finally clicked in my head that I was an alcoholic and I couldn't drink anymore. In episode 24, I also talked about how I managed to stay dry a little bit. I actually went back and rewatched that video earlier this morning with my good friend Rosa. Was able to kind of like look at where I was at in that headspace then. And I remember pausing that video and talking to her just briefly, and I was like, all I'm hearing myself say in that video is I'm still in the victim mentality. I really think that when I did that video, I was still focusing on it rather than I. And I even made the comment that when I filmed that video, I should have kept the T silent in the word it, because I was blaming alcohol for everything, and going through recovery the way I have with AA, I've definitely learned that the alcohol was just a symptom. You know, in AA we talk a lot about, or I hear this saying come up quite frequently, that we came for our drinking but stayed for our thinking. And for this alcoholic, it's true. So how did I stay dry during that first period? Literally white knuckling it. I was avoiding life. I was avoiding all social interactions. I mean, I was avoiding. I was literally just going to work. I would go to the grocery store, and that was it, really. I didn't really go out and do anything. I want to say in August of 2022, a friend of mine shared something on Facebook in regards to their 4-year anniversary of sobriety. And I remember I reached out to her and I was like, what can you tell me about AA? And she sent me a link to the Upper Florida Keys AA meetings. She told me that all I had to do was go in, sit down, and shut up, and put $1 in a basket, that I would figure it out. That sat in my inbox. I didn't do anything with that advice for about 2 weeks. I showed up to my very first AA meeting on September 9th, 2022. It was a Friday night speaker meeting, and it just so happened to be the 6-month anniversary of when I quit drinking. For me, that period was just being dry. I was white knuckling. I wasn't happy. I wasn't enjoying. I still felt like I was missing out. I didn't think that I was going to gain anything from my sobriety. You know, at that point, it still felt like I was missing out on everything. And so when did I actually get sober? For me, sobriety is also about like our spiritual condition, our mental state. It's about gratitude. While my sobriety date is March 9th, 2022, I didn't really start getting sober compared to being dry until I started going to AA and learning about the philosophy, the principles, the program itself, just the steps, the traditions, why we do things, and starting to not really like focus on myself, but focusing on why I did certain things. And that was really the kicker for how I started to get sober, like mentally, emotionally, spiritually. How do I maintain my sobriety today? By taking care of myself. I take care of myself in many, many different ways now. Service to others, working with other addicts and alcoholics, attend meetings. Not as many as I did when I lived in Florida, but I still do attend. I actually got to go to a meeting yesterday. Yesterday was actually Thanksgiving. So when I'm saying today, I'm celebrating 1,000 days of sobriety. It's the day this video comes out, not today that I am actually like filming, because I've got a whole lot of stuff that I'm getting ready to do this weekend, which I'll talk a little bit about that here shortly. I maintain my program as well by like I said, taking care of myself. I eat differently. I eat very, very healthy now. I don't drink a bunch of bullshit, mostly just water, the occasional black coffee. Very boring diet for a lot of people, but it makes me happy. I feel better. I exercise. I joined a kickboxing gym. It's kind of like kickboxing meets CrossFit. I'm actually down almost 20 pounds since the last video that I put out when I was still living in the Florida Keys. So really working hard. Another really big key to how I maintain my sobriety is by maintaining a relationship with the understanding of my higher power. When I talk about God, I'm not necessarily speaking of God from a religious standpoint, because I'm definitely not a secular believer. I am much more a believer in energy and power, the cosmos, Mother Nature, stuff like that. Those are all things that are more powerful than so I can put my faith in them. You know, so I maintain a connection with that. Try to meditate. I'm still really, really bad at this, but it does help. I also find that helping someone else, service to others, helps me with it a lot. Sharing, talking to other addicts. These are just some of the things that I do to maintain my spiritual condition as well as my sobriety. It's how I've managed to make it this far, because I am the type of alcoholic that if I don't do these things, I'm going to go back out and drink. For me, that's no different than signing a death warrant for myself, if that makes any sense. Drinking is to me as like death is to someone else. It will kill me, and that's why I choose not to drink. You know, I spoke a little bit just shortly ago about, you know, feeling like I was missing out and losing things with sobriety. So I actually want to touch on that just for a moment. Was there anything that I lost by getting sober? Absolutely. But those losses inevitably became gains. I lost relationships with people that I thought were my friends at the bar. When I stopped going to the bar, the phone calls stopped coming. So I recognized that it was a relationship of convenience and shared misery. I didn't really lose anything that wasn't worth losing, if that makes any sense. But let's flip that around a little bit. Did I gain anything in becoming sober? Absolutely. I know they say pride is bad for recovery, but I'm proud of myself. You know, I don't carry that shame. I lost that ever present feeling of guilt and worry and anxiety and existential dread that I carried when I was drinking all the time. I don't wake up and have to think, oh God, do I owe an apology text? What did I do last night? So on, so on, so on. Oh my God, I get to wake up without a hangover. These are things that I lost and gained all in the same. I have true relationships. I got to go birthday shopping for my daughter this year. I got to. I didn't have to. I got to. I was given the opportunity to. I was given the opportunity to go birthday shopping for my granddaughter. These are things that I haven't really got to do until getting into sobriety. I've gained a better empathy and compassion for people, a willingness to understand, and it's great. But the ever-present question is, will I ever drink again? Reflecting on 1,000 days, will I ever drink again? I can't say yes and I can't say no. I can say that I'm not going to drink today because yesterday doesn't matter, because there's nothing I can do about yesterday, and there's nothing promised about tomorrow. So all I can say is that for today, I'm not going to pick up a drink. Do I intend or plan on picking up a drink anytime in the near future? No, absolutely not. I have no desire to drink. I'm at a point with my sobriety now that it's not a question of thinking about drinking or not thinking about drinking. It's not even a question. It's not something that I think about unless I'm conscientiously thinking about my sobriety or whatnot. I don't think about, oh, hey, it's Friday night, I'm gonna go hang out with people, I should get a drink. That doesn't even pop into my head. When it's Friday night and I'm gonna go hang out with people, I'm like, hey, I wonder what I'm gonna have for dinner tonight. You know, I get excited about that. The thought of drinking or not drinking, it generally does not even enter the conversation for me. The people that I have to thank for that, people that came to AA before me, that helped me with building my toolbox. To each and every one of you that helped me by, helping yourselves through the program. So that way, when I walked into the room, you could help me. I really appreciate that, and means a lot. So thank you very much. All right, so we're back to my favorite part of the episode. This segment is called What's Good?
What's good?
What's good?
What's good? Get your tail out of the street!
What's good for me right now is, I've already mentioned it, but it's such a good thing for me that I'm gonna mention it a second time here. I was given the opportunity where I was able to actually go out and birthday shop, not just for my daughter, but for my granddaughter. It's amazing. It's one day at a time, and because I have this amazing program, I have the ability to work on these relationships. And while they're not exactly what I want them to be, as long as I keep doing the next right thing, I have a chance for those to become the relationships that I truly hope for them to be. And that's what's good for me right now. All right, so we're going to continue on with this newer segment. I don't think we've done a whole lot of videos with it, but we'll try to keep this format going. And we're going to talk about what's next. What's next for me is I'm actually moving in between Thanksgiving, which was yesterday, and the release of this video. I'm actually moving into a place in Asheville, so pretty excited about that. It feels like a green flag scenario, so pretty happy about it. The next couple things that I'm going to start working on is scripting. I know in episode 80 I said I was no longer going to be doing any more transgender content. I have since then decided that no, I'm still going to do some content for Transgender Talk Time, but I'm also going to start working on a new musical project. I have been asked to start drumming for a lady on her album that she's wanting to work on. She's also asked me to step in a little bit and potentially help her with some of the production. So that'll be kind of nice. Will there be live shows? You know, I'm not 100% sure. We're just going to kind of approach everything organically and just see what happens. As well as with that, obviously, like, creative juices will start flowing, start moving again. And I know I've mentioned it, especially in episode 80, that I was going to launch Ashley's Crazy World here on YouTube. I'm hoping to try and get some creative juices going on what direction I want to take that channel, topics, and hopefully get scripting written over the next month. I'm hoping to launch that channel at the beginning of 2025. That will be a completely separate channel because I don't want to mix the message of Transgender Talk Time, because I do want this to be a safe place for trans and non-binary, non-gender conforming individuals like myself to be able to come and seek and find resources to vent whatever. I still want to help the community that I feel a part of and attached to. So yeah, those are the next couple things that I've got going for me. Unfortunately, that's all the time I have for this week's video. It's been good being able to catch up, see your guys' smiling faces, and just letting you guys know that I'm doing okay. Over here, you know, I've been doing a lot of putting random bands on in the background, trying to just kind of throw a little, this is what I've been listening to lately. This band is King 810 from Flint, Michigan. They definitely have some darker themes, a lot of violence in their music. So if you're a listener that's a little sensitive to that stuff, I don't recommend really checking them out. However, if you want to find a newer band that maybe you haven't listened a lot to, or maybe haven't even heard of, check out King 810 from Flint, Michigan. As always, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. Comment down below and maybe tell me a little bit about your sobriety if you have any questions about AA, etc., etc. Obviously, subscribe if you haven't already. It only helps the channel. Videos get released Wednesdays at 8 a.m. Eastern Time in the United States when I share videos. Currently, I'm not in production. Like I said, turn of 2025, I'm hoping to change that again. Feel free to share the video, as always, because they're not here just for me. I do these videos not just for helping myself, but to help others. There's someone that you know that you think this video might help out, feel free to send it to them. You can always follow me on my social medias. I have Facebook, I have Instagram, and I do have a Patreon. Next week, I'm not gonna have a video coming out because not tomorrow, but Sunday, I am moving. So I'm gonna just try to get this video done and ready for you guys by Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. As always, I hope that you guys are taking care of yourselves. You're being safe. Remember, I love you. It's been great catching up. I miss you guys. I love you. Bye.